And there it is. Wow. What a way to start our Wednesday stream. I went and screwed up something just right before I was going to launch. And I was like, no. I ended up, I was going through extra processes because I like to go through there and kill things that are running on the computer that don't need to be. Maybe it will free up some resources, help things work a little better. And so I started killing some resources, and I misclicked one, which was called Windows Explorer. That's kind of important, just in case you weren't aware, that you kind of need that in order to use your freaking computer. So that's where it started, and it went downhill from there. Now, my computer is aged. And, I gave it all the horsepower I possibly could. But, yeah, Nathan, I did explore. So, yeah, that's the problem was. And then it decided, well, this is a great time to install some updates. I'm like, no. So, we're late. But better late than never. A wizard is neither early nor is he late. He arrives precisely when he means to. And that's my story today. As long as you're here now, Paranormal Portal, that's all that matters. Oh, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. I appreciate your patience. Spectacles, they look cool. Oh, do they? Do I look smarter? Maybe I should keep them on. I don't know. I can read a little better, I think, with them. These are generally my far-seeing glasses because I'm kind of nearsighted, but I found that they actually help with reading the chats and stuff. So sometimes I wear them. When I'm reading a lot of messages and stuff. Yes, keep them on. Okay, I will keep them on. I will wear them for you guys tonight. So that's the kind of accommodation I'm going to give you. But let's see. Thank God in the heavens above that election is finally over. Jeez Louise. And, I don't mean to talk about any specific candidate. I know some people are overjoyed today and others are absolutely devastated. Just know that we're going to continue on. Things are going to be just, I don't know if they're going to be fine or not, but they're going to be okay. I think we've always had these hills and valleys, and, everybody can't be happy all the time. So I'm just glad that it's over. And, whatever side you're on, either congratulations or I'm sorry, depending on where you sit with your political spectrum. But I'm just, just so happy it's over. Unfortunately, I remember a day when I was younger where it was like election season would come and then all the crap would happen and all the vitriol and all the mudslinging, and then it was over, and then you get back to the world. We get back to life. But unfortunately, in the recent years, several of them, maybe the recent decade, it's like the politics doesn't stop. And I'm hoping it'll stop now for a while. I'm just so sick of it. Yeah, we missed you, Maggie. Good to see you. Good to see you bunches. Good to see all of you. Chucky Danger's in here. Chucky usually comes in about a half hour late, so I guess that's a good time to start the show. Chucky didn't have to catch up on anything tonight because I just started myself. But I miss. Hey, Todd, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Happy Wednesday to you too, sir. We've got Wednesday show for you, as always, and I'm going to do my best to entertain you. Jimmy couldn't make it tonight. He's got his world is happening right now, so he couldn't be here. So it'll just be me and you guys. You guys are my co-hosts tonight, so keep your questions coming. And Chuck, you feel called out. It's okay. We love you, even though you're usually a little tardy. We still, you're fashionably late. How's that? Is that better? But we've got a lot to get through. I've got a bunch of news articles, actually, although I'm not going to read them all tonight. I'll save some of them for other nights. The other 2 nights of the week that we stream live, which is Wednesday, which is tonight, and then Friday and Saturday, always at 7 p.m. unless I derp up my computer again, and then it might be 7:30 or whenever. So, but the good news is we are here, we are live, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Hey, Justin Good Earth, good to see you. Dog Digger over on Rumble. Maggie's over there as well as Little Spiderweb. And I see HB Girl to You is over there. So I haven't seen Barbara yet over in Rumble, but I hope she's okay. I hope everything's going wonderful in her world. Oh yeah, she's over there. She said hello over in Rumble. So that's great. Great to see you guys over on Rumble hanging out. I did a lot of Rumble last night, just watching all the election stuff. There were so many election streams, and it was pretty interesting. So I see over in YouTube, we got Wizard Moon, Maggie M10, Rachel gets it right, Annie Manuel, scrolling as I'm reading here. And, of course, Todd, I said hello to. Chucky's here. Excuse me. Sinfully Wicked is here as well. Good to see you. Let's see. I'm scrolling. I'm sorry I was late. There's a lot more chat here than I was expecting. Phil Funk is in here. How you doing, Phil? Thank you for coming in, brother. Grantardo is here. Great to see you. Kitty Cattywhack, hello. It's great to see you as well. And Nathan Nate is here. And I'm looking for any new names as I scroll here. Batman is here. The Batman. The Batman. Na Batman. Let's see. I think that might be. Oh, Aussie Tiprat is here. Good to see you, Aussie. And I think that is it. That's all I have. I obviously had to kill my chat when I restarted the computer, so I lost a little bit of it. Oh, Grateful Owl, good to see you. Grateful Owl. We're grateful you're here. So let's see. I guess we're going to get to the news, and then we'll see where we end up. Of course, we're going to get to several other articles, and then we're going to hit the cryptid corner. But it's kind of a free-form night. I got a bunch of stuff pulled up. Where we get to, what we do, what we don't do, it's all up in the air. Because these shows are never scripted and rehearsed, they are absolutely off the cuff, and so that sometimes creates a personal liability for me because I'm an idiot, but Other than that, we like to have fun and have a good time with this stuff and take the subject matter seriously, of course. It's not just, oh, hey, there's a ghost. Oh, yeah. It's not like that, but we like to have fun. We like to laugh. What a great bunch of people. Well, thank you, Todd. It's good to see you. You're a fantastic addition to the audience. So appreciate you being here, and hope if anybody is out there listening, is like you're checking this out, please follow, subscribe, and become part of the family, if you will. We also have a Discord community, which is a lot of these same people are over there having conversations. And free-flowing feel is good. It works for me. That's how I've lived most of my life. But we have a Discord community. Everybody's welcome. It's absolutely free for you to join. The link is in the description below. So check it out. And if you want to help support the show, order some t-shirts from our Teespring site, which is also in the description below. I'm going to introduce a new design very, very soon. It's one that I think it looks pretty cool, but you guys will have to let me know. Yeah, thank you, Rachel, for putting the Discord out there. Good to see ya. Who's Wiz67? Batman said hello, Wiz67. Oh, Sinfully Wicked. Okay. 67. Okay, gotcha. I think that's what's going on. The Discord is fun. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, Phil's over there. All right, that's going to do it for all the side stuff right before we go into the news. I'm about to news you up, or at least try to bring you some information you might not already have, and none of it'll be political, thank God. And we'll just see what you think. Hopefully you'll be wildly entertained, or at least mildly entertained, whatever the case is. And maybe you'll learn something. Hell, I don't know. I usually learn a bunch every time we do the news because I didn't know that. But that's the story of my life. Yes, it is. Disco Beats incoming in. Hi, Lulu Bell. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in and checking out the channel. Hello, lovely people. And she put a ghost emoji in there. You're already our people, Lulu. You belong here. Welcome home. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. Hi, Sam. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I see Sam popped in as well. So it's just a party. I don't know what to tell you. This is a party. So let's get to the news, and hopefully you enjoy it. But if not, just wait. There's more. There's more after the news. If you think the news sucks, this isn't the legacy media at all. It's the Paranormal Portal media. So hopefully you'll find that a little more digestible than a lot of the news out there, which is, I don't know what it is, propaganda mostly, I think. But anyway, let's get to the news. It's time for the news. Let's do it. All right, it's time for the news desk. This is where you're at now. It's absolutely the same desk you saw before, but it's got this cool border around it. Animated, making it look newsy. Now, if you're new to the channel, this down here is the ghost radar. And that is kind of like our weather here on the Paranormal Portal. It is... It utilizes the magnetometer of a computer, which is basically how computers communicate wirelessly. And it has been shown to be able to do a lot of things. Can work like a radar for even mapping houses and telling, even a hacker can get into your router and use the signals to figure out where people are in a house. I mean, it can get really scary what can be done with these magnetometers, but they will detect EM anomalies. So that's what we're utilizing here, and it's built into my computer tower, which is literally right next to my legs on the floor. So what you'll see is this little circle here. I'm circling it with my mouse. That is the directional radar. The middle, that's me sitting right here. because that's where my computer is. And that's where the magnetometer is. Now, everything in this circle can be up to 25 yards away, which means that a lot of this is going to be actually outside over here on this side, which is on this side on the radar. That's actually outside of the wall of my house. Everything else should be in, maybe not some of this stuff up here, but you know, right around here is the house diameter or edge of this part of the house. So if it's over here, it's outside. We don't have to worry about it. If it's sitting here giving me a lap dance, that might be a little more concerning. I was just actually scratched on my neck a week ago, Wednesday. No, what the hell was it? Monday? I don't remember. It was just recently though. No, it was last week. It was a week ago. So yeah, I mean, stuff happens. This is definitely kind of an active house. It's been much more quiet now for a while, but anyway, gnome brownies. Oh, I'm glad you said gnome. There's several different versions of brownies out there. And I saw brownies and went, oh, no, it's just gnome brownies. I wonder how gnomes like being in brownies. All right. Anyway, actually, brownies is another kind of folklorish creature that are supposed to be these little fairy type beings. So anyway, let's get to the news. Throughout the course of the show, we do utilize a lot of different sites, and I can only ask that you guys will help support these sites. Visit them, go see them, go check them out. There's lots of great stuff, and your traffic does equal revenue for these sites. And there's so much material on these sites that I could never even begin to cover. All we can do is just hit a few stories here and there, but like Phantoms and Monsters, Sasquatch Chronicles blog, unexplained-mysteries.com are just three of the main sites that we use quite a bit here on the show. And they are so exceptionally well done. And if you're into this stuff, which I assume because you're here, you're into this stuff, you're going to love all these sites. And sometimes we hit other sites as well that just had real cool stories pop up. So just please help me support them and help spread the word about these sites because they are absolutely exceptional. That's disturbing, Batman. Why do gnomes like being in brownies? The same reason Cub Scouts do. That was a setup, like no setup. I subscribe to Magic Mind. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Caitlin Ann Townsend. I hope you use the Portal 20. Got some good savings. I love this stuff. I really do. I'm not doing a promo on them tonight, but I really do love Magic Mind, and I hope you enjoy it. That's I hope it's everything to you that it has been for me. All I can tell you is that I only promote things I believe in, and Magic Mind is just exceptional. So let me know what you think, Caitlin, if you wouldn't mind. I would love some feedback. And I did Portal 20 all day. Boom. Booyah. Thank you, Caitlin. I really appreciate that. That does support the show as well. So yeah, when you get it, let me know what you think. Message me, send me an email, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Let me know what you thought after you try it. I think it's exceptional. I really do. Welch's gummy fruit snacks. What are you guys talking about? Brownies and gummies? What the hell's going on in my chat? Thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate that. Okay. First article up tonight. It's actually one I've had open. I thought it was one I had open. This isn't it though. Here it is. Here's one that I've had open for a while, and I meant to read it last week, but we just never got to it because it's just what happens here on the portal. Like I said, it's a free-form, unscripted show, largely a discussion of different things, and some people get irritated with that. It's like, I want more of this kind of stories, and I apologize, but this is a unique show, and it's just a free-form venture into all the weirdness that we can handle. So the first article is coming from a site named unexplained-mysteries.com. And this has to do with the show, actually not really having to do with the show directly, but one of the people on the show. And this is Stranger Things, and I think it's a wonderful series. I've really loved Stranger Things on Netflix, and if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. It's worth. I mean, it's obviously not real, but it's just a fantastic story and journey, I guess, and I enjoy it. So. Let's get to this. Let's get to this story. Unexplained-mysteries.com brings us the first story. Stranger Things star had paranormal encounter on the movie set. Well, he's also in the Ghostbusters, so maybe it was one of those. But let's see what's going on. The actor who plays one of the show's main characters encountered potential real-life ghost in an old mansion. Finn Wolfhard, who plays the role of Mike Wheeler in Netflix hit Stranger Things since 2016, is certainly no stranger to acting in movies with supernatural elements. Not only did he play a major role in the 2 latest Ghostbusters movies, but he also starred as one of the main characters in the recent 2-part adaptation of Stephen King's It. It was during filming for the latter that the 21-year-old would have his own real-life paranormal encounter. There was a time when I was a kid shooting It in this abandoned mansion in Toronto, and me and a bunch of the other cast were just exploring the floors, he told People during a recent interview. We went up to the top floor, and there's one room where we saw a guy in black just kind of doing electrician work, and we were just like, okay, well, that's just a crew member. But then later we found out that no one knew who that was, and no one ever saw him again. It could have been someone just messing around, but yeah, it was pretty scary. Wolfhard will return to our screens in the final season of Stranger Things in 2025. Well, there you go. I like the first 3 seasons. I haven't watched the whole 4th season. I watched a couple of the episodes, but I don't know. It's like everything else. If they, try to maintain that momentum, sometimes the stories just fall flat. I don't know. I'm less compelled with season 4 than I was with the first 3 seasons. I thought they were really well done. But I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you watch Stranger Things, any of you guys? If you do, did you enjoy season 4? Is it just me? Maybe I got to keep giving it more chances. But let me know. Okay. First thing I think of when I hear Ghostbusters. What's that? Ectoplasm? Hey, Justin. Good to see you. Just insane. Oh, well, hi, Brent. Hi, all. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. So that's the first story. Watched a couple seasons of it. Watched season 1 and 2. Yes, I watched it like season 4, but not 3. Okay. Haven't seen the 4th yet, though. Gotcha. Well, yeah, if you guys check it out, let me know what you think. But that's the first article tonight. Even those Hollywood types, they got their own experiences, huh? I guess they're just like us after all. It's another thing I'm glad we're done with political season. I'm so sick of actors telling people how they should vote. It's like, just go back to acting, will you? Go play that one guy. I don't know. It's kind of condescending. Anyway, I pretend to be a superhero, and you should vote for blank. Like, yeah, I don't think that just because you play, Spaghetti Man or whatever the hell superhero you might think, doesn't qualify you to give political advice. Just saying. All right, let's get to the next article. And this is, what is this? This one's kind of a new one. I was thinking of Wes when I saw this article, so I thought, we better read this because I know Wes Germer, of course, of Sasquatch Chronicles, is a big, has a lot of interest in history, and he's incredibly knowledgeable and well researched on a whole bunch of stuff. And he and I were talking about this subject, I don't know, several months ago now, but I saw this pop up, and I was like, oh, well, so in honor of Wes, I'm going to read this article here on the show, and tell me what you think. Maybe it's exciting news. It has to do with modern mysteries, and this comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mystery object thought to be Amelia Earhart's plane has been identified. I wonder where it was. The object had been picked up on sonar and was thought to be the wreckage of the famed aviator's plane. More than 82 years after Amelia Earhart disappeared over the Pacific Ocean, during an attempt to circumnavigate the globe in her Lockheed Model 10 Electra, the question of what happened to her continues to remain one of the biggest unanswered mysteries in the modern age. Back in January of this year, however, a potential game-changing new discovery in the Pacific Ocean, apparently 100 miles from Howland Island, Earhart's destination just prior to disappearing, was thought to have had the potential to solve the mystery once and for all. At the time, the South Carolina based underwater mapping team Deep Sea Vision had reported capturing a clear sonar image of what appeared to be an aircraft on the seafloor about 16,000 feet beneath the surface. Oh, that's brutal. The search, which was funded by pilot and former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer Tony Romero, involved scanning over 5,200 square miles of the ocean floor over several months. Fast forward to the present, and now Romeo, I don't know if it's Romeo or Romeo, has confirmed in a statement that new sonar images of the mysterious object have revealed that it is in fact nothing more than a plane-shaped rock formation. Oh, it's those darn plane-shaped rocks. This outcome isn't what we'd hoped for, he said. The global response to our initial discovery has been truly inspiring, a testament to Amelia and the pull of her incredible story. Despite the disappointing result, however, the firm is resolute in its determination to continue the search and put the mystery of what happened to Amelia Earhart to bed once and for all. I wonder, okay, all right, here's the Fox Mulder in me coming out. What if they did catch this weird sonar image of some wreckage on the floor of the ocean, 16,000 feet down, and perhaps they did some covert research and found that that's no airplane. That's something else. Huh? What do you think? Is it possible? Maybe it was a UFO? Maybe or a USO? Maybe it was a crashed USO or UFO or something. I don't know. Why would they do? Oh, it's just a plane-shaped rock. Nothing to see here moving along. Now, could it be? Sure, it could be. But what if it's something else? Yeah, maybe it's an underwater UFO base. They're like, no, we cannot go dive down there. I don't know. It's interesting. Because it just seems like how possible is it that they would have gotten several sonar images and thought, well, this might be Amelia Earhart's plane. It's right near there. And then they're suddenly like, nope, it's a rock moving along. I don't know. It seems kind of odd to me. But is it possible? Sure, it's possible that the surface story is the real story. But what if they found something else and we're like, no, it's just a rock. Let's move along. We'll keep looking. And they might have found something else. And what if it was something that was going to be recovered by the military after discovery? Like it's a crash one. I'm not thinking like a UFO base. Well, I mean, maybe though. God, who knows? But they decided to nope right out of there for some reason. And maybe just because it's a rock that looked like a plane on sonar. But what if it was something else? Just saying. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not encouraging 16,000 feet is damn deep. Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's pretty incredible. But anyway, that's the news. And I didn't know what it was going to say either. I don't pre-read these things, so I thought we'd read it on the air and discover it together. I just pull stories up based on headlines, to be honest with you. So that's the headline, and that's the meat of the story. Or at least that's the version of the story they're telling us. But what if it's something else? Just saying. It's possible. Could be. All right. I mean, that's what we do. We dig into weird stuff here. That's my job. So what do you want? It's my job. All right. Here's a disturbing thing. Say you just bought a house and you found something like this. I think this would suck. Personally, I think this would suck a lot because you don't know what the ramifications. It's already bad enough ramifications just finding something like this in a home you just got. But what if the ramifications of what you found could be a lot of increased presence and activity in your house? I don't know. Or it might be closure. But what am I talking about? Well, according to unexplained-mysteries.com in the Modern Mysteries section comes this story. New homeowners in France find skeleton of missing man in their attic. Nobody thought to look there? I don't know what's going on. Let's read this. That's really strange. A couple who'd been renovating their home in a small village in France recently made a grisly discovery. The homeowners, whose house was situated in Ersthof, near the German border, had been carrying out repairs and renovation work when, upon venturing into the building's attic space to fix a leak, they discovered to their horror that there was a skeleton tucked inside a cubbyhole. Well, that's a bad sign because clearly that's not just where somebody crawled in to die. Sounds like they were put there after they were already died. Police investigators quickly determined that the remains were most likely those of Alois Ifli, an 81-year-old man and former occupant who'd gone missing all the way back in 2009. At the time, nobody had been able to work out where he had gone, and his own wife had continued living in the house until her death in 2020. Completely oblivious to the fact that her long-lost husband's remains had been in the attic the entire time. Ooh. Could you imagine? She'd be like, oh, it's raining. What's that smell? That's a terrible smell. The discovery of a noose hanging from the rafters suggested that he had committed suicide. Yeah, but how'd he end up in a cubbyhole then? Authorities are now working to definitively confirm his identity and cause of death. Well, if it's a skeleton, I don't know. How can they figure out what kind of soft tissue damage may have been done? Whether or not the house's new owners will opt to remain there, however, remains to be seen. Well, maybe by virtue of finding this, they will have created a more peaceful environment. Maybe there's, that's the closure that's the guy needed. I don't know. That's really weird. How do you hang yourself and then after you're dead end up in a cubbyhole though? I mean, that already doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know. Maybe he hung himself in a cubby. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Maybe by then the head had detached and it was just a pile of bones. I don't know. Really creepy stuff though. Why would an 81-year-old guy just go, nope, I'm done. I've had enough. I mean, if you're at 81, why would you just go, yeah, that's it. I'm done at 81. Nope, no more. And who knows? I mean, is it possible somebody could be in that state? Sure, but it sounds more nefarious to me, honestly. But anyway, that's just me on the outside looking in with absolutely minimal information. So I'm sure there's a whole bunch more in there that they didn't release, or there's more to the story that they couldn't fit into an article. But anyway, interesting story. I think we'll read one more, and then we'll see what's going on in the rest of the portal sphere. And this one, well, this is weird. I saw this one too. How big is it? No, it's not too big. This one's good. Let's read this one. We'll close out with this one. It's a brand new article that I pulled up today. And I don't know what this means, but we're going to find out together, folks, because just like in the movie Contact, father and daughter team have decoded a signal. Let's check it out. This one's from unexplained-mysteries.com. Father and daughter decode mock alien signal sent from Mars. What's a mock alien signal? That's the part that's got me a little confused. It's like, what do you mean mock? It's alien signal if it came from Mars, even if it's our stuff out there. It's not terrestrial. Let's see what it says. The signal had been sent as part of an exercise to see how we would fare if a genuine alien signal was ever picked up. Sent by ESA's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter back in 2023, in May, the message was put together by a group of simulated extraterrestrials, which included scientists, astronomers, a poet, a radio engineer, a physicist, and even a lawyer. Maybe aliens have lawyers too. The message was picked up by 3 observatories on Earth, and the data made available to the public to see how long it would take someone to decipher the meaning. The first step, which involved extracting the message itself from the raw data, was achieved What the hell was that? Achieved, rather, after just 10 days, but it would take a lot longer for anyone to figure out what it actually contained. The first team to work it out was a father and daughter, Ken and Kaylee Chafin, from the U.S., who in June of this year determined that the message was an image depicting the structure of 5 amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. The goal of the exercise was to see how our civilization might fare if tasked with interpreting a real alien signal, and the fact that anyone managed to decode it at all is certainly encouraging. That said, it's impossible to say how things might have gone if the signal had been genuine. Also, there is still one mystery to solve. What exactly were the simulated extraterrestrials trying to convey by sending an image of 5 amino acids? Could we ever hope to decipher the meaning and intention of a real alien signal? Perhaps one day we might find out. I don't know. Interesting as it can be, I guess. So that's kind of neat, though. A father-daughter team did it. I bet you they're, probably pretty exceptionally intelligent people. But how cool is that? I mean, would you know of an amino acid if you saw one? It's, oh, that's clearly the molecular structure of an amino acid. I'd be like, what the hell is that design? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what a molecule of an amino acid looks like. But anyway, very cool. Kind of neat. Kind of a neat story. But that's gonna wrap up the news, I guess. I hope you guys feel like you've been informed. It was a good use of your time. I like Gouda and extra sharp. See, it's so funny. I do all this talking, and I come back and it's like Food Network in our chat. You guys crack me up. It's a community all of itself. I can't complain. You guys are wonderful people, and it's fine if you want to talk about cheese, but I'm just, talking about all this weird stuff in case you're interested. All right, that's it for the news. Let's get back to the rest of the show. I started the cheese? How'd I do that? Oh, my comments when I misread that word. Yeah, damn it. I hate when I do stuff like that, huh? Misdirecting my own chat. Batman says they're listening. Nathan Nate said you're listening too. Okay, good. Well, that's fine. It's fine. I was only teasing just a little bit. Excellent newsy news. Well, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. At least I didn't cut the cheese. Sorry, that's so dumb. I might have brought up the cheese, but I didn't cut it. So there you go. Maybe I should get a fart noise on my soundboard. Would that be too childish? Probably. Anyway, who the hell came up with that saying anyway? It's like, when did a fart equal somebody cutting cheese? It's like, what kind of cheese are they cutting? It's like, what's that smell? Who cut the cheese? Oh no, that was my bowels. Oh no, okay, never mind. But it became who cut the cheese. I don't know. The etymology of figures of speech. I don't know. Just a thought. Anyway, it's so stupid. A fart noise is a cow's moo too. Huh? Well, not mine. Mine resembles nothing like a cow's moo. I'll just say that. I'm going to go on record. Sometimes they stop. They sound like a hissing snake, and other times it's like Thor just smacked his hammer against a mountainside. It's like, oh God. Sorry, I'm just being an idiot. Oh, Maggie, you get us. Maggie, thank you. I can't even say it. I don't want to be totally gross. That's just too funny. Too funny. But anyway, that was the news. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is kind of what the journey into the portal is. Again, I blame it on the bullfrogs. Yeah, exactly. The snake ones are the most potent. I know, because it's like there's no resistance. It's just this exhale from hell. It's like, no, it's all solid flow. There's no clapping at all involved. It's just here it comes. And you're going to deal with that for a while. You're going to be dealing with that one for a while. Just saying. Oh God. I don't even like dealing with them, and they're usually mine. So God forbid. I'm usually tasteful about it. I'm just going to go on the record. You walk away for a minute and heard everything and cracked up. Yeah. I'm telling you, Barbara. Yeah, it doesn't take long to just circle the drain here on the portal. It's part of the whole vortex thing, I guess. Too close to a toilet metaphor, maybe. I have never done that ever. Well, God bless you, Maggie. That's a rare thing. However, I'm here to tell you. Nah, I'm not going to tell anything more about it. Sheldon would be absolutely beside himself with this discussion. So I guess we'll just continue as we go. And thank you for everybody that are here, and for those of you that are coming in as we keep talking. Paranormal gas. That's the quiet ones, Paul. Those are the paranormal ones, the ones that make absolutely no sound. You're like, wait, where'd that come from? That's the ghost gas. Yeah. But they might be absolutely hoaxes, humanly created hoaxes, and not the sulfurous breath of a demonic entity. I'm just saying. All right, barking spiders. Oh God. There you go. There's the cheese thing. Hey, we went from cheese to cutting the cheese to flatulence. So yeah, we've worked a whole spectrum of stupidity here in really short order. Probably set some records, I'm thinking. But let's get to more of the fun that we've got here. What the hell is this? Oh yeah, this is another. Wait, no, I knew that was there. Okay, never mind. That's another article we're going to read. It's a weird article that I pulled up, and it's like, who the hell could know something like that? But anyway, we'll get into it on Friday, I think, depending on what news articles are available. I think I saw a ghost. I have some mist floating, and then it dissipated. No. Oh my God, Nate. You made me read that? Oh, that's not even fair. I can't even finish it. Because if that's what your flatulence looks like, brother, you might want to see a doctor. If it looks like a mist, there's something really wrong in you. I'm just going to say, I don't know. I can't even, the nightmare of doing your laundry. I just can't even imagine. God help you. All right. Just get some really good detergent. Anyway. You guys are killing me. Okay. Let's continue on. I got some articles that I pulled up here. We started a half hour late, so we're almost to the hour mark. Okay. So we're going to go about a half hour late on the show tonight. I hope that works out for you guys. But I had screwed up my computer just prior to launching the show tonight. So unfortunately, it didn't work out well. What the hell is this? What is this? I don't even. Oh, that was from another show that I was on. I was a guest on another show, and I had a link pulled up, and I was like, what is this? Oh, I did it. I had two of them pulled up. Well, I can close those. That might help. That might help with some latency. Just saying that's possible. Why is my window so stretched out here? There we go. I think, yeah, now I could squeeze it down. Okay. Sorry, I'm just, uh-oh. Whew. Oh, there we go. I'll go back to, we're going to get into some other articles here. I've pulled up, oh, Christ. All right. I actually have to open that. That was another thing that closed when I had to restart, and now it's all open again. But I forgot to open one window, and that was to my Brave browser, where I have the articles pulled up that I wanted to read to you guys. So just waiting for that to catch up. Come, lovey, let's have tea. Yeah, restore, please. There it comes. So I got a couple of articles. These are phantomsandmonsters.com. And again, I can't recommend phantomsandmonsters.com enough to you guys. Lon is just a machine when it comes to posting stuff. He's constantly updating his site with brand new encounter stories and some insight stories and anecdotal things that he also comes across. And the thing that I really like about Lon's site on Phantoms and Monsters is the fact that he really does do what he can to vet them. I was going to vent. I'm back on flatulence there or something. He does try to vet them and looks into them, usually reaching out and contacting people that have submitted stories to him, asking questions, things like that. And I really respect that. And that can't be an easy thing to do. So I can only encourage you to check out phantomsandmonsters.com. That's Lon's site. And it's pretty impressive. And Lon has so much information there. There's literally thousands of encounter stories there of many different persuasions. Some of them are cryptids like Bigfoot, Dogman, white crawlers, etc. Pale crawlers like the rake is another name for them. Or they can be ghosts, or they can be UFOs, or other cryptids like the Mothman. He's been really invested in looking into the Mothman phenomena around the Great Lakes region, which is really fantastic and fascinating stuff. So definitely support Lon, not only his site, but he's a published author with several titles out there that you can buy if you're interested, or check out his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio, which is also a YouTube channel. So, and you can catch Lon doing live streams over there. I think he does Friday nights, about 6 p.m. Pacific, I think is about when he launches his live streams. And it's fascinating stuff. You can hear Lon talk about a lot of different things. So, but anyway, we're going to visit Phantoms and Monsters now, because here's a story that's kind of, it doesn't fit into the cryptid corner, but it's still, this kind of shows you the spectrum of things that Lon does cover. And this is a near-death experience. Woman's future daughter appeared. Now, I'm fascinated by near-death experiences. I think it is probably one of the most compelling pieces of evidence that we have to substantiate the fact that we live on, that once our bodies fail, that the consciousness of us continues on. And I think that's wonderful. And I find these near-death experience stories very heartening and very encouraging, because I think, the prospect of facing death is incredibly terrifying, because, what if we're wrong? Well, I guess if we're wrong, then, and you go in believing that life continues, and then, it's just like an off switch. Well, what are you going to do? It's over. That's it. So I choose to look at it, and I truly do believe that we do continue on. I really do, with all my being. But I always wonder why people that are skeptical need to take away that possibility. It's like, oh no, there's nothing. It's just a DMT dump, and people that are in trauma, and that's what they're seeing, is this DMT dump in their own mind. It's like, no, I don't think so. People have had incredible experiences of witnessing their own, the actions going on around them when there's no pulse, no EKG, no brain activity, and yet they're still able to witness events going on around them. And even in other places around them where loved ones are, and I think that is so fascinating and is so far beyond our comprehension and ability to explain. So these are incredible events, but I've never heard of one like this. So let's see what this one says. A young woman who is in the ER is having a near-death experience, and she recalls seeing a 5-year-old girl nearby encouraging her. It says hand on. I think it means to hang on. And later, an unbelievable event occurs. I received the following account. Hello. I was around 19 and ended up in the ER. One minute I was alert and talking, and in a short amount of time, my vitals started tanking. I remember so clearly that I had a person on each side of my bed who wasn't just there. And I remember thinking, this isn't right. And I could hear the nurses talking and saying my name loudly, but then they faded as I focused more on the newest members of the room. To my right was one of my friends, and she just smiled at me. And it made me happy knowing that she was there and I wasn't alone. But then I looked to my left, and it was the prettiest little girl. She looked about 5 years old, had mousy brown hair with little curls, and her eyes crinkled at the edges when she smiled. She was wearing a burgundy dress and seemed to know me. Well, I'd never seen her before, but I was happy she was there. She said in a super calm, sweet voice that she should not fall asleep and that it wasn't my time. And I said something to her, and I can't remember what I said, but she told me that I was going to be okay. Well, I immediately trusted her, but I did lose consciousness. Well, I woke up in the ICU about 12 hours later and ended up making a full recovery. Now, I've shared that story with a few people I'm close with over the years. I assumed it was my brain's way of saying, hang in there, so I just didn't make too much of it. Fast forward several years later, I had a really rough pregnancy with stacked medical issues, so it was a fight to go to full term. But I had a beautiful little girl. And one day when she was around 5 or 6, she came out of her room wearing a burgundy dress and her hair with her natural little curls swirling her face. And she said something that I can't remember. I started crying. It was her hair, her sweetness, her dress, her everything, even the joy she brought me when she walked into the room. I firmly believe she was by my side that day, fighting for me so that I could fight for her. I will never forget that moment. Either one. Wow, that's an incredible story. I've heard of people, it wasn't attached to a premonition or a near-death experience, but I've heard that some people believe that they end up having sightings, like ghostly, like children sightings of their future children. Like they'll be in their house and hear a noise and look over, and there's a little, 4-year-old, 3-year-old kid bopping down the hallway with, very distinct features. And they're like, wow. And then years later, they have a child and they realize that's the child they saw before it was born. Like they were visited by these future children. And that's fascinating all by itself. But when you stack that into a near-death experience, it's like, wow, is it possible that we are always surrounded with those that are either in our life, have been in our life, or will be in our life? Like it's, the whole soul family, so to speak. Some people use that term like it's a soul family. Well, maybe it is. And maybe these soul families stick around us, whether they're physically incarnate or not. And I think that's a beautiful thought. I don't know. I mean, I don't pretend to know, but it is interesting, right? Yeah, it is really comforting. Like all of these beautiful souls that have been a part and shaped our lives continue to be around us. And that's a great, great idea. I know many cultures have, a lot of strong belief in the idea of their ancestors, respecting their ancestors, praying to their ancestors and things like that, because they believe that their ancestors continue to look out for them. And why not? I mean, it's kind of, another piece of that same idea, right? It doesn't take into account the future members of your family, but it does acknowledge the past members, and that's wonderful. You choose your family. Yeah. Is it possible that we do actually have soul contracts with this spirit family, this soul family that we're a part of? And probably we do. I don't know. I mean, the whole nature of reality is obviously very ambiguous and is incredibly interpretable by our own worldviews and spiritual views and etc. But perhaps visions of kids on trampoline, they're the ones that get stopped by a diaphragm. Jesus, Batman. What the hell is wrong with you, you twisted soul? Brent, I finally became a member. Oh, God bless you. Thank you, Aussie. I appreciate that. Your shirt should be coming sometime soon. Did you get your shirt yet, Aussie? I can't remember the date that I told you it was coming, but I thought it was the first part of November. For those of you that won the last round, I still got to send those out, so my apologies. But the people that won in the round before, you should be receiving your shirts sometime soon if you haven't already. Let me know. I actually ordered a white hoodie, the white hoodie for myself, because I have a black hoodie that predates the Teespring site. But I wanted to get one of the white hoodies with the black lettering on it to see how that looks. So when I get it, I'll wear it on stream so you guys can see. So time is a human construct. Everything exists all at once, but reaching it is difficult. Yeah, it's got to be something with frequency, right, Rachel? It's non-Euclidean time is a idea that all time exists from the advent of the Big Bang all the way to the eventual collapse of the universe. Is all happening in this one moment, and it's our awareness that moves through the vibrations of this experience, and perhaps we interpret that as time. And that's my own interpretation of what that means. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but it makes sense to me. But and I think that's why some people experience hauntings, but the ghosts seem to be experiencing the people as the haunting. And so maybe it's a window or a diaphragm of time that's kind of merged in some way and allowed a bit of the ability to perceive it both ways, like looking through a window. Oh, I can see down there through there, and then it's fogged up again. It's little windows of moments. But yeah, that's got to be the case if people can experience hauntings and the spirits experience the people, or it's more like The Others, that movie with Nicole Kidman. And maybe the ghosts don't know that they're dead and they're just in this moment. I don't know. Anybody's guess. Does it really explain past life memories, though? Sure. Because that would still just be the ability to tune into that other experience. I'm sure we manifest. The thing with the non-Euclidean time would be that you are living multiple lives right now in a multidimensional experience. That you are a multidimensional being, having all these different experiences. And so perhaps past life memories and recall like that is just those memories bleeding through from one experience to the other. And perhaps we can tune into that stuff. Maybe that's an achievable thing for us at some point, but we're just not there yet. So they just punch through every once in a while. Brent, have you seen Arrival? I don't know if I have. Can you tell me who's in that movie, or what the topic is? It sounds really familiar, like I have, but names for me is my big dyslexia. Like I forget a lot of names quickly, even whether it's books I've read or TV shows, movies. I oftentimes forget the names, but I don't forget the subject of what it was about. I don't really think an event horizon exists. I just think the differential of time in a gravity well versus regular space is such a massive gradient that the light doesn't have time to get to us. Oh, that's a good point, Batman. That's a very interesting point in terms of black holes. Yeah. I remember something about the egg in that allegory. Which allegory is that, Maggie? Let me Rachel, I was reading something similar. I heard an allegory of all humanity as one soul. Yes, I heard the one that you're talking about, Rachel, with the egg. That the guy emerges kind of conscious and sees this God being and tries to talk to him, and the God being's kind of trying to answer a little bit, but, basically telling the person that you are all of this. But, and that also kind of makes sense too, because what if what we are is ideas in the divine mind? What if every one of us is an idea in the mind of God, or whatever you call that divine being? So if that's the case, then we're all God, right? We're all a part of God, or at least one segment of that great mind. So yeah, I guess we are all people because we're all interconnected, if that's the case, or if we're just woven into the divine web of God, then we're all interconnected to that because nothing exists outside of that. So we would have to be intrinsically a part of it, much like, the cells in your body are still part of you. I don't know. It's interesting. It's all very, very interesting. Professor Brian Cox said that there's now substantial reason to think when something enters a black hole, it exists far, far in the future. Brent Thomas, hello. Drew Duncan, long time no see. Good to see you. Haven't been here in a while. Well, I'm glad you found your way back, Drew. Thanks for coming in. And you're always welcome here. You're always welcome to come back home. So that's the first article. I think that's incredibly interesting. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. And I like those uplifting stories. I think those are fun, because again, we hear a lot of the creepy, horrible stuff here in the paranormal, but there's a lot of really beautiful, cool things going on too. They just don't get the press they deserve. So I've been making it part of my mission to bring you guys positive stories. So isn't it a theory that when where we reborn into the family circle? Sure, yeah, the whole soul family thing is the idea that, yeah, you may exist as a person, but when you pass, you will probably come back into that family circle somewhere as maybe your own great grandchild, or your own great cousin or something. It's that you'd still be in that same family circle somehow. I have to crash soon. You all rock. I always look forward to this, man. Well, thanks, Batman. I appreciate you making it in, man. That's always great to see you. And thanks for the laughs. You're a little disturbing, but I love you anyway. So very cool discussion, guys. Yeah, that's the big part about all this. This is just a huge rabbit hole of all of this stuff. And that's why I think the paranormal is important, because I think it's tied to all of this. It's the breadcrumbs that lead us to these maybe super advanced quantum physics that we just don't understand yet, but we experience it like ghosts and weird phenomena. So at any rate, just some thoughts. Okay, let's get to another story here from Phantoms and Monsters. And I have no idea what this is about because I've never heard of this before. But the story is from October 30th on phantomsandmonsters.com. I've had it open for a while, but we hadn't had a chance to get to it, so let's do that now. And this is, again, phantomsandmonsters.com, SEPTA's Magical Mystery Bus. I'm not sure what SEPTA is, SEPTA, but I guess it's some transit authority is what it sounds like, right? TA would be a transit authority, but Southeast Pittsburgh Transport Authority. I don't know. Let's find out. This is by, what the hell? Oh, okay. This is by Dr. Raymond A. Keller, author of The Real Resident Aliens. Is available on Amazon.com while supplies last. So this is an excerpt, I guess, from a book. Very cool. All right. Little do the folks of it is Pennsylvania. Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority. I have not read this before, so that's funny that somehow came to me. Realized that one of their buses is a magical mystery transport on loan from the higher realms of Venus. Okay. It's not exactly what I was expecting, but let's get into it. Most everyone in the 5 counties comprising the greater Philadelphia area, in addition to adjacent counties to Philadelphia, across the Pennsylvania state line, in Delaware and New Jersey, are familiar with the bus routes of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, or SEPTA, as it's popularly known. Few realize, however, that SEPTA is one of the largest transit systems in the country. Besides buses, SEPTA services include regional rail, including high-speed line, subways, and trolleys, but even lesser known is the saga of SEPTA's magical mystery bus. Throughout the area covered by the SEPTA bus lines, there are quite a few missions and soup kitchens, and these outreach centers are the last stops for many on their journey through life. And these are the shabbily dressed people that we try to avoid when we see them begging for change at the entrance of a Walmart parking lot or any dingy, dimly lit downtown street corner, maybe with a tin cup or a squeegee in one hand with their cold, gloveless hands. And this same group of down-and-out people, the Master Jesus referred to as the least of these in Matthew 25:40, King James Version. When you talk to many of the residents of a homeless shelter, diners in a soup kitchen, or even a suffering one just sleeping on the streets over a warm grate, if he or she is lucky enough, you can hear a lot of sad stories. And some are veterans who never adjust to the civilian life, several from post-traumatic stress syndrome, and others are unredeemed alcoholics or drug addicts who have lost contact with their families and just have nowhere else to go. And there's also mentally and physically disabled persons unable to fit in anywhere, the outcasts of society. Former convicts also roam the streets, not finding anyone who will give them a job or a second chance. So many tragic circumstances have brought them to a dead-end street in Philadelphia, supposedly the city of brotherly love. And so there was a council of the angels called by I don't know if this is this got to be a fiction thing, right? But I guess we're invested now, so we'll just keep reading it. There was a council of angels called by Jesus on a higher dimensional plane on the planet Venus. I'm getting a headache here. To see what could be done about this ongoing problem in the Philadelphia area. Lots of ideas were brought forward in the meeting. Most of them were complicated with little to obvious. Remember, said the Apostle Paul, if you angels are supposed to keep a low profile down there, helping the earthlings from behind the scenes unawares. Hebrew 13:2. Then the angel's secret secretary of transportation, Christopher, spoke up. Why don't we introduce a ghost bust and ghost bus? I said a ghost bust. And translate some of the worst cases directly to heaven. Nobody's going to come looking for them anyway. After all, nobody cared enough about them back down there on Earth. It's time someone gave them a break, a real fresh start. No more halfway measures. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a bowl of tomato soup, a bedbug-ridden cot, roll, and soggy, dank pillow for the night, and then back out to the cold, hard pavement. The angel formerly known as Avila in Spain, Teresa, interjected. Maybe for the rest of them, they have to stay behind in the shelter, and we can get that pillow guy, Mike Lindell, to make some contributions of soft, clean, and warm bedding and linens. Well, that's a great idea, Christopher and Teresa. I don't know what I'm reading here. How long is this? Oh, it's huge, kind of huge. I'll keep going. Why not? Sounds pretty good to me. Okay, wait, I went a little bit too hard. Well, that's a great idea, Christopher and Teresa, exclaimed Jesus, adding, let's make that happen and put a few smiles on some people's faces. As I promised folks on Earth that one day the last would be the first and the first would be the last. Let's start with pulling the least of these at the top of the line. And that's why we're here anyway, so let us not waste any time and be about it. The next day, Christopher beamed down to an angel safe house in Pittsburgh to meet with fellow angel, the scribe known as Veretiel, who, besides recording the activities of angels on Earth, was responsible for generating fake documents. He makes fake documents for angel operatives working in the different countries, states, and municipalities, and logistically provisioning them for their assigned mission on the blue planets, and this is where he received his clothing, including a SEPTA bus driver's uniform, in addition to the appropriate Pennsylvania DOT Class C commercial driver's license and assorted background medical exams, academic transcripts, and other required records. But most importantly, a power ring to summon up an etheric SEPTA bus that looked like the real McCoy. The angel Vrediel also asked Christopher if he'd like his SEPTA name tag to read, reflecting his alias here on Earth. I think Chris Angelucci would be nice, Christopher replied. That means anointed angel of light. Sounds pretty good to me, remarked Vrediel, and also noting it seems so appropriate too, especially given that there's also a lot of Italians and their descendants in the greater Philadelphia area. Yo, Rocky. When you have the time, check out some of the Rocky movies. It says it next. That's funny. I might just do that, said Chris. This is the spring of 2015, so he had until All Saints Day, or the 1st of November, to get settled in the Philadelphia area and begin his mission. And so it was on the night of the Saints, on the night following Halloween, that the angel Christopher had conjured up a SEPTA bus, parking it under a bridge for the elevated trains in the Kensington neighborhood of lower northeast Philadelphia, not far from St. Francis Inn. Kensington was the epicenter of Philadelphia's ongoing opiate crisis. Jesus and all the guardian angels had been receiving a lot of prayers for divine assistance coming out of Kensington, dealing with several cases of drug addiction, according to the angel Vrediel's records. So Kensington was as good a place for Christopher to start as any. Vrediel also felt that his fellow angel Christopher would have the best luck in locating the truly dire ones in the vicinity of St. Francis Inn, which had been serving meals to the neediest individuals and families in Philadelphia since 1979. They opened their doors in December of 1979 and have served a meal every day since then, throughout blizzards, hurricanes, and even through the pandemic. They've not missed one day providing meals to go. A breakfast or hot, cold cereal or pastries is served 3 days a week, while they serve a sit-down meal in their dining room every day. They now serve over 350 meals a day, with an emphasis on the dignity and respect of their clients. The poor and needy have come to greatly rely on their services in the St. Francis Inn, and so they are always congregating in and around their building. Christopher pulled the bus. I really apologize for reading this. I thought it was something real, but it's obviously a fabrication, but we're deep now, so I think I'm getting towards the end. Christopher pulled the bus around to the block from the St. Francis Inn so he could get a better view of its patrons coming out and onto the street before he would drive up to the curb in front of the establishment to let some riders get on board. Once he spotted about 250 or 240 people leaving after the close of dinner, he scrolled the destination sign at the top of the bus to read Paradise and slowly maneuvered the large bus in front of the St. Francis Inn, hoping that some would get on, if for no other reason than to get warm. Fortunately, there were 2 brave souls on that first All Saints evening bus run. There was a disabled veteran whose wife took all of his money out of their retirement fund and absconded with their children to California. Oh, that's horrible. Never to be seen by him again, and leaving him totally destitute and despondent. And then there was a drug addict returned to her habits after getting out of prison and hitting the streets again, selling her body to buy more drugs and do the best as she could. The angel Christopher was telepathic, so he knew all these passengers' respective whole life stories as soon as they put their foot on the first boarding step of the bus. The passengers noted that there was no fare box, and the angel driver just waved his hand in a low and slow manner, bidding them welcome aboard. No sooner had the veteran and the beleaguered lady taken their seats on that bus, near the heaters on each side of the center of the vehicle, when the man on the left side and the woman on the right, they both went into a sound sleep. When they woke and looked out the windows, they saw a beautiful and fantastic city beyond all imagination, glistening like an alabaster in the middle of a bountiful fruited valley, surrounded by majestic purple mountains. "Make yourselves at home," said Christopher. "Your worries are over." Only a few who have been to the Shangri-La have volunteered to return to Earth, and help the Angel Force with their mission here, but just like the contactees who tell about aliens taking them to other planets, hardly anyone seems to believe them. Nevertheless, the lives of those returning passengers have all been miraculously changed for the better. Okay. Dr. Raymond Keller, professor of magical realism and Greco-Roman mythology, with a statue of Lady Venus on a personal guided tour in 2017 of the Venus Room in the Philadelphia Metropolitan Art Museum with his first paranormal book, Venus Rising, A Concise History of the Second Planet. I don't know. I don't know what I just read for sure. I guess it's an excerpt from a book or something. I guess The Real Resident Aliens. I don't know. I'm not sure what we read. A short story, perhaps. It was interesting. I don't know how to spin this at all, actually. There certainly is plenty of testimonies of people who have been like on destitute roads, running out of gas, being stuck, and then, nearly out of gas, just fumes left. And suddenly an old school diner appears and has a gas pump, and they stop in and grab a nice warm meal and get a tank of gas and then get back on their way. Then they'll go back to say thank you and, glad you guys helped us out. And there's only the ruins of what was once a diner in that spot long ago. So those kind of accounts are claimed at the least. Are they legitimate? Well, maybe. Sounds like an angel S. Forus, the light bringer, not usually a good thing. Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, the morning star, the light bringer, yeah. I hear you. I loved that movie Shangri-La when I was a kid. The novelist Richard Matheson wrote the same thing like this. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to fictional stories, but I just don't like to spend showtime reading fiction on the show because that's not the scope of the Paranormal Portal. But, it was a sweet story. And who knows? Maybe something like that exists. I don't know. I can't pretend to know, but anything's possible. Lots of paranormal activity in the subways of Philadelphia. Lots of suicides have taken place there, unfortunately. Yeah, that is sad. That always breaks my heart. Being personally someone that was directly affected by a suicide, it's an agonizing thing, It's a painful thing to know that somebody, that was their only choice. They were at that point in their journey that's all they had left. And if there's anybody out there listening to the sound of my voice, I keep trying to mention this every time this subject comes up, but please reach out to a hotline, to a friend, to somebody, and just talk. Just talk, because things like that are just nothing but devastating, not only for the people dealing with them, but for the people that love those people, the people around them. So please get help. Please let somebody help you. Please reach out to someone. If you have no one, reach out to me. paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you as much as I can, but you're not alone. You just got to reach out and let people be there for you. And, there's no doubt that anybody that loves you is going to much rather you reach out, even at the worst times of the day, than to attend your funeral. So let people help you if you're having a tough time. And maybe the people can't directly help you, but maybe they can at least listen, give you someone to talk to. And sometimes that's what people need most of all, is just someone to share and express and to hurt and do it verbally. Sometimes that can be the most therapeutic thing for a person. So please feel free to reach out if you have nobody else. I'll be happy to talk to you as much as I can. Yeah. But I do encourage you to reach out to professionals that can help you a lot more than I can. And there's so many hotlines out there of people that are dedicating their time and energy and love and compassion to be there for people that need them. So please, please let someone help you. Okay. That's the preliminary stories. Now we're going to get to the cryptids. Are you ready for some cryptids? You ready for some creatures? We've got a lot of stories tonight. This too shall pass. It may pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass. Yeah, that's true. Not everything is a wonderful experience, but I think everything is survivable if you're dedicated to it. If you're dedicating to getting through it. Your voice is so soothing. Thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate that. That's very nice. My voice was actually getting very dry. It's that winter heater. Winter heaters dry me right out. Sounds like an interesting book to read, Rachel. I'll have to check it out sometime. I got to get a recommendation from my cousin Paul. He's like, rather than having plastic bottles, you should buy a portal decanter. And I was like, well, yeah, I sell them. I should. I still have to do that. But I'm going to do that, and you guys can see it. Maybe you'll like it. Get one of your own, but, at the very least, it would probably look better on screen than me holding a plastic jug of water. I haven't done this for a while. We should do this quick before the cryptids want to see us atomize some water. This is something I do with a minion. We haven't done it for a while now, but we take these empty plastic bottles, these, and they're not really thick. They're pretty thin, but we make little cannons out of them. How do you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to show you. So you take the plastic bottle and then you twist it and you create 2 chambers essentially, and you wind it up like crazy until the plastic is just about quivering, and you end up with something that looks like this. There's a little middle, there's a bottom bubble, and then there's a top bubble. And then the fun begins. And make sure you're not doing this towards your face. Point it away from you, never towards you. And then all you got to do, keeping that tension, holding it very tight, pointing it away. I have no idea where this is going to go, but it's pretty cool. I'm going to turn the mic towards it. Okay, here we go. You just unscrew this. You got to unscrew it a little bit at first. Then just use your fingernail. Use your fingernail because it's going to pop. And you just unscrew it. And then you get this. And that's an empty plastic bottle water cannon. And it atomizes the water. So it's the boom. It atomizes the what Barbara says. It makes me happy. It makes the minion happy too. We laugh every time because I've actually chipped paint on my wall because these things come off pretty fast. So I'm not recommending you do it. Be careful if you do it. But it's kind of a fun little experiment to show pressure and how that instant change of pressure actually atomizes the water that's still in there. And you get that vapor. It's pretty cool. So it's actually, there's a fire starting technique where you take, which will go better. You can take like this lint or something like that, put it in this like acrylic tube, and it's got a stopper on it. It's like a plunger that goes inside, and you put it down and you hammer that plunger, and it'll actually make that lint start to smolder, and you can put that into a nest of straw and stuff and create fire. So, and that's still a very similar kind of thing. You have to look it up. There's videos on YouTube about that, but yeah, the water bottle. Lint from the dryer is best fire starting material. You are correct, Johnny. I built actually long before there were Harry Potter ones that did it now, but I built a design to launch a fireball that would burn, and it included dryer lint in its core, but it also included like paraffin wax and stuff too. But it had several different elements that I did. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll actually market that idea. But I remember when we got our first VCR, and my brother-in-law brought his over and said, "I got beta." Oh, poor guy. He got beta. Oh, he got took is what he got. Yikes, my mates moved and they must have dislodged the lint and they burnt their brand new house down with the dryer. Yeah, you gotta clean out those lint traps. You can't let those build up. They will start a fire in a hurry. Yep. Modular rocket engine would work. Yeah. Model rocket engine. Sure, it would. All right. We're going to get to the cryptids now because I'm done playing with lint and stuff. Or with water bottles, rather. And talking about fire starting. So let's get to the cryptids. We're not going to actually read this article. It's just the one that's open. Because I was putting together a podcast about black-eyed kids. And so that was one of the articles I was using for inspiration. But here we go. It's time. Yeah, you should actually pull those hoses off of the back and the vent hoses and vacuum those out or replace them at least. But at the best, replace them. But at the very least, look for any buildups of lint in those freaking hoses because they're ribbed like that. They're ribbed and they expand. And so that lint builds up, and then you've basically got a long tube of fire starter sitting there. And that's nothing good. I got lint. Oh, my hands are cold. All right, so it's time for the cryptids, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start this journey on Mr. Wes Germer's Sasquatch Chronicles blog because, well, by God, he does an amazing job himself. And what I love is that he posts a lot of listener emails that he gets from people. And not all of them become shows. And so, but they're still amazing encounters. They're still windows into people's experiences. And I think that makes them incredibly valuable. And Wes has given us his blessing to use the blog. So by God, you don't have to ask me twice. All right. So here it is. The first one from Sasquatch Chronicles, the blog, sasquatchchronicles.com. And this is from November 5th, which is yesterday old. Bears don't sound like death metal singers. Oof. A listener writes, I've been somewhat reluctant to talk about what I believe to be two possible back-to-back Bigfoot encounters on opposite ends of the country within about 2 months of one another. Now, I've always been a fan of Bigfoots and grew up in the classic TV shows, but I always assumed it was simply part of a mythology. After graduating from college with a focus on anthropology, I was convinced Sasquatch wasn't real. My mind was recently blown when I was on vacation in the Redwoods with my wife in June. We stayed at an Airbnb just outside McKinleyville, California, and I'm a huge fly fisherman. I don't know if he means huge like his interest or if it's literally his size. Joke. Just a joke. I brought my rod along to see if I could land a few trout on our trip. Well, there was a pull-off on the roadside just down the hill from where we were staying with a trail that led to the river. I saw an older man pulled over there one of those days and asked if I was allowed to use that trail to get to the river or if it was private property, and he said it was public. So my wife and I walked down there to just check it out. I fished for about an hour and the sun started to set, and we didn't want to be trapped out there in the dark without a flashlight, so we packed up and headed back down the trail to the car. Well, the trail was significantly longer than either of us had thought because it wound along the side of the river for a while. And we're chatting about what we wanted to do for dinner, and we were glad to have such a nice day on vacation. Just as we're about to take the final corner that would take us up a small incline to our rental car, I heard this ungodly yell, and it made my blood run cold. It was the loudest noise that I've ever heard in the woods. It was like a death metal singer yelling right in my face at full volume, but louder than that. I just don't know how else to describe it. My wife and I have both through hike the Appalachian Trail, and I shoot wildlife documentaries all over the country, and I can tell you for a fact that it was not a bear, because bears don't sound like death metal singers yelling in your face. It wasn't like an elk or any sound I've ever heard from North American wildlife. We calmly walked back to the car, acting as if it were a bear and remaining calm and walking slowly. We got in and headed back to the Airbnb. I stayed up until about 2 a.m. listening to every sound I could think of on YouTube that it could possibly have been, but I couldn't find anything that sounded like it. Within the following days, the sound lingered in my mind, but as I got back from vacation, the memory faded, and I wrote it off as, well, probably a homeless person hiding in the woods. All of my Bigfoot friends said it was definitely a Bigfoot, but any time I've been in the woods with them, they said that everything was a Bigfoot, so I didn't take what they told me with any heed. 2 months later, I was visiting my friend who owns a fly fishing and custom fly rod building shop on Lake Toledo Bend in Texas. Well, he flew me out from Ohio to take some photos and videos for his website and just to do some fishing. My friend Chester Moore picked me up from the airport, and we drove out to my friend's house. And we got in late and had to be up early and leave on the boat to get sunrise photos, so we exchanged greetings and just went to bed. We were standing on the boat ramp at 5 a.m. waiting for the captain to get everything ready. His property is surrounded fully on all sides by the Sabine National Forest. Chester and I were standing at the boat, and the captain ran inside his house to grab something that he forgot. And as we stood on the shoreline, the most classic sounding whoop rang out from deep in the woods. Well, I looked at Chester and said, "You gotta be freaking kidding me." And 5 seconds later, we heard a response, a short whoop from a completely different direction in the woods. The captain came back out, all cheered and ready for the day, and we went out and got the work done that we needed to do. My head was spinning all day, but neither Chester nor I wanted to bring it up with our friend in the boat. And when we got back on land, Chester pulled out his phone and played the whoop sound from Legend Meets Science, I think. And it was the exact same sound. Hearing something once is easy to write off. Hearing something 2 times in a short window has left me confused and questioning everything that I believe. I've listened to Sasquatch Chronicles for many years because I enjoy the stories, but they've taken on a whole different perspective for me now. I'm also the creator of Wild Man of the Woods documentaries, which you have been sharing, and I appreciate that very much. I started making them for my dad because he said, "They don't make any Bigfoot movies anymore like they used to." I just kept making them for fun. I wanted to share my encounters with you since I've been listening to everyone on the show for years, and it's really helped me to come to terms with the reality-shattering moments over the last few months. Yeah, I mean, what are the odds that the guy would be exactly in the right place to catch both of those sounds? I mean, I'm not saying he's full of garbage. I just don't. I just think that for some reason he was meant to experience this. I mean, because what are the odds, and what does that mean? So I've the one many times when I'm interviewed and on this show I've talked about several of my experiences, but the one that's just rattles me, I think probably the most of anything I've experienced, was the UFO experience. And the reason why is because I've been looking my whole life and had never seen anything. And it wasn't until about, 11 or 12 years ago when I saw that UFO up here through night vision binoculars. And it rattles my brain because I think, what are the odds that I've been looking my whole life, never seen anything? But on the one time that I was up here, for those meetings that I was attending and just staying up in the mountains, I happened to be in the right place at exactly the right time with exactly the right equipment to perceive it. And that's what really cooks my bacon. It's like, what are the odds that all of those things would just be in perfect concert for me to have that experience and to have that reality of knowing that these things are absolutely out there beyond a doubt because I saw it. You know, again, there's a big difference between believing and knowing. And I had heard that for years and years, but never really considered what are the ramifications of that. Well, I know now because that's where I was. That was the transition I made upon seeing that craft. And then just, you know, realizing that, yeah, they are definitely real. This is a very real phenomena. But I think that the most incredible part of it to me is not just witnessing it, but just realizing how many elements were in play for me to have that experience in perfect concert with each other. And it's really a mind bake. You know, it's got to be a divine providence kind of thing, right? So I don't know. I'm of the same thing mind about Stranger Things. Season 4 is reaching a bit. Yeah. Justin Good Earth, I just saw your comment over in Rumble. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I guess they got to keep fleshing out the stories and stuff. But anyway, that was the first Sasquatch Chronicles article. And I'm really glad this guy had those experiences. I really do personally love when the people that are skeptical have these incredibly profound experiences. Because it's like, yeah, see, we told you. And now you know. Now he knows. And what does that mean? Well, I don't know, but it's another person that knows something's out there. And so it's another set of eyes and another will that might be looking for answers. And the more people looking for answers, the more likely that we might move to getting answers. So I don't know. I don't pretend to know what they are or what they aren't. But whatever it is, they're out there. And I'm not really sure what that means, but it doesn't mean it's not real. So the next one is also from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And this will probably be the last one from Sasquatch Chronicles that we'll read tonight. And then we'll move on to Phantoms and Monsters for a couple of those. But this one is coming from November 4th. Odd events in the Allegheny National Forest. Listener writes, I have a property in the Allegheny National Forest, and over the past 10 to 12 years, I've had 3 interesting situations take place, none of which I would have thought could be connected to one another until I stumbled onto your podcast. Around 10 to 12 years ago, prior to having a cabin built, I was going to my property to clear trees, determine where the cabin was to go, leveling a spot on the hillside, and in general taking the steps necessary to prepare for building a cabin. Well, I'd go up on Friday after work and spend the weekend in my tent. On one particular day, July, I believe, I'd worked into the night, and it was probably around 10 p.m., when I quit working and began to relax. I started a fire and made some dinner. Well, after a few hours later, midnight, maybe 1 a.m., as I sat by the fire enjoying the peacefulness of the woods, I heard a tremendous loud whoop coming from the ridgeline to my east. Well, my camp sits on the east side of Tionesta Creek between two ridgelines that parallel the creek. The creek sits at 1,300 feet elevation. The ridgelines paralleling it are about 1,800 feet elevation, and my camp around 1,400 feet elevation. The whoop I heard sounded as if it came from the top of the ridgeline on my side of the river 400 feet up, and was probably no more than 50 yards to the south downstream of my position. It was really loud, and it had been threatening a threatening yell at that volume. I probably, if it had been a threatening yell at that volume, I probably would have just packed up and left. The strangest part of the whoop was the end of it, and this is probably the height of the Finding Bigfoot show that was on television at the time. I enjoyed the show and had heard Bobo and the cast do many hollers and whoops, but this one had a different ending to it that I find extremely difficult to try to reproduce. It was a whoop that ended with a backwards inhaling, popping kind of sound. It was like whoop, whoop, and it was so loud. It sounded kind of like a fish gulping at air on the water's surface, very, very loudly. It says, I've told many people the story since then, but the part that I remember most vividly is how that whoop ended. And the sound was like nothing I've ever heard before or can reproduce. Since then, the cabin has been built, and there's a deck detached from the cabin, nearly 80 feet below the cabin that sits about 20 feet above the flat ground that extends 100 feet to the creek that is nearly 100 feet wide when the ground rises very steeply to the ridgeline opposite the cabin. The flat spot is cleared of trees, leaving the lower deck about the only place that I can get cell reception. So the lower deck is where I go to communicate with my wife when she's not with me. It was just a year ago, last summer, I'd been sitting on the lower deck roughly around 9 or 10 p.m. and had just finished texting with my wife and was just stargazing. And I noticed that there was a routine pattern of commercial airlines traveling from the west and heading pretty much due east. These planes would come into view high above the ridgeline to the west and then disappear overhead as they became obscured by the trees and ridgeline behind me to the east. Well, I watched these planes appear at roughly regular intervals, for probably an hour. It was a very clear, starry night. And then slightly to my left, southwest, coming from immediately above the tree line across the river, a glowing white ball of light appeared. It was not projecting lights, but appeared to be illuminated internally. From my perspective, it appeared to be just above the tree line and about the size of a cantaloupe. The light moved slowly in a straight line, no flashing or blinking, just a steady glow slowly gliding across the clearing between the ridgelines over the river in a slight southeast line until it disappeared above the trees behind me, heading in the exact direction that would lead directly to where the location of the whoop whoop had taken place around 10 years prior. As it had passed overhead and became obscured by the canopy, I remember feeling strangely unsettled and even nervous. I made my way uphill, following and trying to catch a glimpse of it between the sparse openings of the canopy of the trees, but I didn't see it again. I returned to the cabin, still feeling really weird, almost nauseous. That feeling stuck with me for a few hours that night. So August 3rd, 2024, just a couple of months ago, I was again on the deck below my cabin and had finished communicating with my wife, sitting there relaxing and enjoying the sounds of nighttime. It was 9:42 p.m. I texted my wife again and told her something along the lines of, I'm using this as a timestamp in case the aliens wipe my mind. Her reply was along the lines of, go to bed, laugh out loud. And this is what happened that evening. We had quite a bit of rain for days prior to my arrival at the camp. With the high humidity and hot days, at nighttime the camp was completely masked by a heavy fog, rising into the air off the river and damp surroundings. Generally, I could see the creek 100 feet away, either by the moonlight or my headlamp, but that night it was just a white wall of fog, limiting my vision to less than 20 feet. So the sky was cloudy, foggy, and there was not a single star to be seen anywhere. And then out of nowhere, slightly to my left, between the two ridge lines, a pale, orangish, glowing orb appeared. It was much higher than the top of the ridge lines, but nowhere near high enough to have been a star peeking in from between the clouds. I remained motionless and just sat there, glowing internally, not illuminating externally, just a steady, dull, orangish, glowing light. Coincidentally, I just came across Out There, Crimes of the Paranormal, Season 1, Episode 2, and at 8 minutes 11 seconds in, there's an almost identical sighting recorded. It's more of a diamond shape than a circle I had seen, but it's the same color. Well, anyway, I had my phone with me and thought of taking picture. Never entered my mind. Rather, I used a star tracker app to try to figure out what star it could possibly be and that I was looking at, knowing damn well it was nowhere near high enough to be a star. Well, I messed with the app, going back and forth, looking at this light, looking at the app to the sky, to the app to the sky, app sky, for about 20 minutes until I finally gave up and set the phone down. Well, I looked at the orb and said, okay, I see you. You have my attention, now show me. And before I could finish my sentence, something else, about 200 yards downstream, to my left, the sound of multiple coyotes erupted, making all kinds of crazy yips and barks. They continued making these sounds and sounded as if they were moving in a direct line in the middle of the river upstream against the current. That would not have been possible for them to do. They did not sound like they were in the brush on the opposite side of the river or on my side of the river. They sounded like they were in the middle of the river. And they continued yipping and barking as they moved upstream, covering about 100 yards in a matter of a few seconds. Well, at that time I said in my mind, not out loud, okay, wow, coincidence. How about, and again, before I could think, another one, the coyote sounds abruptly stopped and turned into the sound of a pig snorting. It was not squealing in terror as if it was chased by coyotes. It was just simply snorting like a pig in a pen at a county fair. It picked up right where the coyote sound stopped and continued to move upstream at the same rate of speed as the coyote sounds, snorting calmly the entire way for another 100 yards in just a few seconds till it was practically directly in front of me. Well, at this point, I again said in my head, okay, wow, how about, and before I could complete my sentence again, one more, the snorting abruptly stopped, and it transformed into a crow's caw that continued to travel upstream at the same rate of speed, cawing the entire time for another 200 yards before it stopped. I was amazed, astonished, overwhelmed, and completely flooded with emotion, like I'd not felt anything like since my son's birth. I was in complete elation. I turned my head back towards the orb and said out loud, "Thank you." But the orb was gone, nowhere to be seen. I know coyotes exist in that area. Pigs? Well, it's possible. I understand wild hogs are probably everywhere, but I've never heard of any in the area. And crows are not nocturnal as far as I know. And neither the coyotes or the pig could possibly be moving upstream in the river at the depth and rate of flow as it was currently at. Had it been a pack of coyotes after a pig and a crow, I imagined it would have sounded much differently. This orb had been sitting motionless directly along the line of travel from the orb I had seen a year prior moving between the ridges, both of which were in line with the location of the strange whoop-whoop sound I had heard 10 years earlier. Correlation? Well, I have no clue. But the last encounter certainly has me thinking about it almost every single day since. In my opinion, I am certain the animal sounds I had heard were not coming from actual coyotes, pig, or crow. It was a performance provided by the orb intended for me. I don't know why I was so fortunate, but the interruption and completion of my sentences with audible projections was just far too weird of a situation for me to believe otherwise. So that evening, when the orb was gone, I was left feeling completely overwhelmed with emotion. And that is when 9:42, I sent my wife the text. I'm using this as a timestamp in case the aliens wipe my mind. So that if by chance I were abducted and awoke with no recollection of the evening's event, that she might remind me of it. Wow.
Truth.
So the ghost box just said truth. Well, there you go. So it must be a true event. Thank you for that corroboration. Yeah, I think those kind of events would be absolutely amazing. I actually got chills from that perfect timing. Truth. You made it for once, Jaron. What do you mean just once? You've been here a bunch. Justin says, nice. Nice. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the ghost box saying truth right at that conclusion. Very cool. Wow is indeed right. Got to wonder if these, if it is actually a spirit, if it's going, wow, that's a crazy encounter. Truth. Maybe. You missed a few. Well, welcome back. It's good you made it. I got chills too. Grateful Owl said, yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that. But that's the neat part. Like the ghost radar, that's the only thing it's done all night. That one thing right there. And I like that thing doesn't react all the time. Because if it went off all the time, it'd be like, oh, it's just, randomized, whatever nonsense. But some days that thing goes off like crazy. And other days, it won't say anything for weeks. So, or even detect things for weeks. So the fact that something came through and said truth, well, fair enough. That sounds pretty good to me. I think it's a true story. Whoever this person is, I'm glad they had this experience. It's really neat that they didn't get so fearful that they didn't pursue checking into it. Like they weren't like, oh, this is creepy. I'm going to bed. This is enough. And fair enough. I don't know if I would have stuck it out this long as that guy did. But I guess it was a home to him. So maybe it just didn't feel threatened, didn't feel scared. So he just waited it out to see what would happen. What did I find out? Well, nothing. I didn't really find out anything, actually. It's just calmed down. It's been calm ever since after the Halloween days. It kind of settled down. Sheldon's calling me. Let's answer and see what he's got to say. Hi, Sheldon. You're on the air.
I am?
You are. You're live right now.
Wow. Well, hello.
Yeah, I started the show late tonight. I had computer problems.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, do you want me to call you back?
I'll call you when I'm done, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. And I will be there on Friday.
You'll be there on Friday. All right, we got you locked in and everybody heard it. You can't back out now.
Nope, can't back out. I'm coming in.
All right.
Hot on Friday.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, see ya. Well, there you have it. Mr. Sheldon Thomas. Yeah, people waving. Oh, that's nice. You guys are awesome. Well, I guess we are kind of, we're about at the end of the show then, aren't we? It's been 2 hours with a half-hour late start. It's almost 9:30. Wow. Time flies when you're in the portal, folks. That's all I can say. I love this story, though. I thought it was really good. Very interesting. Is there a correlation between the orbs and the whoop? Maybe. Again, I don't understand it. I don't pretend to know how to conceptualize that, but I can't ignore there might be something to it. I just don't know what to do with that. So it's just one of those things. Tex came in, did he? God bless Tex. I thought he's working. Guess he must not be working. Okay. Well, I'm glad Tex came in. Tex is a wonderful guy. He and I have become real buddies lately. And Paranormal Paul's been stopping in, so that's really cool. Nope, not Cooper. That's my eldest son, actually, Sheldon. He does co-host with me on Fridays. So, yeah, we're still live. Sheldon Thomas. But I'm glad you'll be here on Friday. I guess I won't have to bug you now and ask you that. Hey, you going to be here? Yeah, so... Yeah. Sheldon, you were born before the Big Bang Theory ever came out. So, all right. I guess it's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this journey Hope you had a good time. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for your patience as well as I wrestled with my technical issues. I don't know. I should not turn off Windows Explorer, apparently. It was actually accidental. I thought it was a file explorer. I'm like, why is that open? I'm not exploring any files, so I closed it. And then it's like everything went dark except for my active windows. And I was like, oh, no. And I couldn't get them back up. I'm like, oh, God, I'm screwed. I will not say bazinga. Well, thank you, Drew. I'm glad you made it back. Thanks so much. And I hope you continue to come back, brother. It's great to have you back. Of course. It's always, that's the one hard part, because I do feel like I get attached to you guys, and I do recognize when some of you aren't able to come back for whatever reasons. And it's not that you owe me an explanation, but I always wonder, how you doing? How's anybody? I reached out to K-Love just recently because we hadn't heard from her forever. I just sent her a message like, hey, just hope everything's okay. And she did respond back. She's just been extraordinarily busy, but it's just really neat. All the love. Good night, Brent, and thank you. Thank you, Caitlin. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I hope you keep coming back too. Make sure you're subscribed if you would, and like the stream before you leave if you wouldn't mind. That does help. And let other people know about the show if you wouldn't mind. That helps even more. It's all like layers of help. No one layer is more important than the others, but there's just lots of ways to contribute. I of course, would love to see the show continue to grow, and unfortunately, I don't advertise these shows ever. So any exposure we get is from you guys or somebody just stumbling on the live streams. But you guys are amazing, and thank you so much for building a community around this show. It's just such an incredible honor, and I'm just so thrilled that you guys are here and a part of what I'm doing. So So we do these live shows, Caitlin, every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Same time, 7 p.m. is when they're supposed to start. I started late tonight because of technical issues. But 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. Pacific time. And that's 10 p.m. Eastern till midnight Eastern time. So, if that works for you, I'd love to have you back. And one quick way to do is just make sure to ring the bell and click all notifications. And then you'll be notified every time I post, hey, we're going live pretty soon. Because I do post prior to the show starting, whether it's on Facebook or even in YouTube on the community tab. So keep watching for that. I tried to spread the word, but many of those I spoke to want more. Grandizer, I think you're just trying to push me to do more creature stuff. I love you, brother. I appreciate you just putting the word out there. However, the show's always going to be about many things, not just about cryptids. There's plenty of other shows out there that just do cryptids, and I don't ever want to try to do what they're doing. Well, I just do what we're doing. And I do love talking about the cryptids, but it's never going to be the focus of the Paranormal Portal. It's just a focus among many focuses of the Paranormal Portal, because the paranormal isn't just cryptids. If it was the cryptid portal, then, you could expect that we would be talking Bigfoot, Dogman, and all other cryptids all the time. But it's the paranormal portal, which by definition means not normal. And that's all of this: ghosts, UFOs, strange phenomena, cryptozoology, and so much more. So we have a full... Got to get me a t-shirt. Oh, God bless you, Caitlin. Well, the link is in the description for Teespring. If you want to buy a t-shirt, that would help out a bunch. Thank you so much for your love and support. Means the world. See, we've got some great people. The other shows that just do cryptids, they're stuck on Bigfoot and Dogman. Only William DeFalco and Lon cover the variety. Yeah, exactly. So they're already doing it. And I never started doing shows just so I could copy someone else. I always wanted these shows to be our own version of covering all this strangeness. There's so many shows competing directly with each other because they're all doing the same stuff. And it just, I didn't want to enter that fray. I just wanted to do my show, just things that I'm interested, which is all of this stuff. The fact that you guys are here and are part of it, it means the world to me, but I still will keep doing the show that I love to do, not just cater to what people say they want. I mean, I do my best to bring something for everybody on every show, but sometimes I don't succeed. Sometimes I do. But that's how it works around here, brother. You know that, Grandizer. You've been with us for a long time, so I appreciate your input, though, brother. I don't begrudge you that. But that's it, folks. That's all we got time for tonight. I love the portal exactly as it is. Aw, thank you, Maggie. The variety is really lacking. Grandizer, you're welcome to go watch another show all the time if you're not happy. I'm never going to beg anybody to be here. If you want to be here and be a part of what we're doing, great. But your vision of the portal is not the vision of the portal. So I just need to make that clear. I love you, brother. I really do. But if you can do a show that you think is better, then YouTube is wide open. You can feel free to create a whole nother show. I'll even promote it for you for what we have for an audience. I'm happy to help you, but don't ever think that this show is going to become your vision of what it should be. This is my show. This is the show I'm going to do. So just keep that in mind. I do love you. And I'm not trying to be rude, but you've been doing this for months now. It's like, this is still my show. And, I hope you'll continue to be a part of it. I think you're an amazing person, but if you got a better version, my vision of the portal has changed. I don't know if it has or not, but you've been more vocal about what you would love to see more often. And while I appreciate that, we have a very diverse set of desires in our community, including my own. So there it is. All right. Love you too, Caitlin. Thank you so much for being here. Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs up. Thanks, Johnny. All right. That's going to wrap it up. So yeah, anytime anybody has an idea that they think they should do a better show or a different show, please feel free to start one. YouTube's wide open to anybody that wants to put in the time and effort. And like I said, I'll be happy to promote what you're doing and steer people in your direction. I wish you all the success in the world. Any of you guys that want to get into the fray. Perfect. I'm happy. All right. There we go. We're going to continue on Friday night. I hope you guys will join me. And remember, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back on Friday night with Sheldon, who is now committed because he said so. And join the Portal Discord. Yes, Maggie, please. Anybody that wants to join, love to see you guys over there too. All right. That's it. I'm all out of steam. So until Friday, guys, take care. I'm winking in case you can't see with the reflection of my glasses, but I'm winking at you. You know who you are. All right. See you guys. Until next time, take care of yourselves.